हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्ते, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल। मैं प्रोफेसर दत्तात्रेय गुड़के आप सभी का फिर से एक बार स्वागत करता हूँ विद द नेक्स्ट एपिसोड ऑफ वेरी स्पेशल शो एंटाइटल्ड एज रीड विथ मी। चलिए कुछ अच्छा सुनते हैं। And today's episode is very much special because due to this pandemic or lockdown situation, we are spending a lot of time with our child. But sooner or the later, we have realized that we are falling short in inspiring our child. And if you want to inspire them, as per my observations and my experience is concerned, what I will try to suggest, that instead of instructing them, please show them the path. मीन्स हम ऐसे बोल सकते हैं बच्चों को, ज़्यादातर हम क्या बोलते हैं कि ये मत करो वो मत करो। इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट आप वो चीज़ें उन्हें करके दिखा दीजिए, क्योंकि बच्चों की 7 साल की उम्र होने तक उनके बहुत सारे जो भी जो भी सेंसरी ऑर्गन्स हैं उसमें से जो ऑब्जर्वेशन करने वाला, मतलब जो आंखें है 7 साल तक बहुत अच्छे से काम करती है। तो वो क्या करते हैं कि आपकी चीज़ें बहुत कम सुनते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप वो चीज़ उनको करके दिखाते हो। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हम ज़्यादातर हमारे बच्चों को बताते हैं कि झूठ बोलना गलत बात है और उनके सामने ही हम झूठ बोल देते हैं या उनके थ्रू हम झूठ बोल देते हैं। तो बच्चे क्या कर लेते हैं, अगर हमारे पापा हमारी मम्मी झूठ बोल सकते हैं तो हम भी बोल सकते हैं और वो अच्छा है, और वो ऑब्जर्व करके वही वो करने की कोशिश करते हैं। तो अगर आपको आपके बच्चों को इंस्पायर करना है तो डेफिनेटली आपको पहले वो चीज़ उन्हें करके दिखानी होगी। कोई भी हो, चाहे वो पढ़ाई हो या जो भी आपके लाइफ स्किल्स है, वो अगर उन्हें आप करके दिखाते हो तो डेफिनेटली दे आर गोइंग टू लर्न फ्रॉम अस। सिंपली इंस्ट्रक्शन देने से कुछ भी नहीं होता है। और ज़्यादातर बच्चों को जो प्रोफेसर लोग हैं उनका एग्जैक्ट रोल क्या है या कितना सिग्निफिकेंट रोल प्ले करते हैं प्रोफेसर्स हमारे बच्चों के लाइफ में, ये एक लॉकडाउन का जो सिचुएशन है इसने दिखा दिया है। तो इन टुडेज एपिसोड वी आर गोइंग टू रीड अ वेरी स्पेशल बुक विच इज रिटन बाय सदगुरु, अ योगी मिस्टिक, entitled as Inspire Your Child, Inspire the World. Already this is a very unique book and the capabilities of author are uncommandable. Already we have completed very few books regarding his, including Inner Engineering, a Yogi's Guide, then Death, then Karma, and lot many books are coming in that series. Our team is trying to record as many books as we can. सो अगर इसके पहले भी हमने बहुत सारे बुक का जो रीडिंग है या जो ऑडियो बुक्स है ऑलरेडी वी हैव प्रिपेयर्ड। द लिस्ट गोज एज इकिगाई, द जापानीज मेथड फॉर लॉन्ग एंड हैप्पी लाइफ, देन इनर इंजीनियरिंग, अ योगीज गाइड, देन हाउ टू टेक बैक कंट्रोल ऑफ योर लाइफ, द पावर ऑफ योर सबकॉन्शियस माइंड, देन कम्स द पावर ऑफ पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग, देन कम्स द Miracle Morning, and so on. Numerous audiobooks we have completed as per as this Read With Me show is concerned. तो ये शो हमने क्यों शुरू किया था? What is the philosophy behind starting this show? You can have a look at any life of any successful people in any walk of life. What his important habit trait is? Definitely he or she, whomever it may be, what they are going to suggest, they are going to suggest that on everyday basis you have to read something. And a lot many times we have repeated, or rather I have repeated, the benefits or miracles of reading something. मान लीजिए कि आप हर रोज 2 ही पेजेस पढ़ते हैं और एक साल में 365 दिन होते हैं। मान लीजिए आपने 65 दिन छुट्टी ले ली तो बचते हैं 300 जो डेज है वो बचते हैं। मान लीजिए 300 दिनों तक आपने हर रोज 2 ही पेजेस का नॉलेज एक्वायर किया, तो 300 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 2, लगभग 600 पेजेस का नॉलेज आप एक साल में एक्यूमुलेट कर सकते हैं। और मान लीजिए ऐसा ही हर रोज 2 पेजेस पढ़ना आप 5 साल तक कंटिन्यू करेंगे तो आपके पास कितना नॉलेज हो जाएगा, यू कैन थिंक ऑफ। और अभी जो हम कोरोना के सिचुएशन के थ्रू जा रहे हैं तो डेफिनेटली दैट नॉलेज इज गोइंग टू हेल्प अस, क्योंकि बहुत सारे जो हमारे अर्निंग के रिसोर्सेस है, दैट मे बी पैसिव इनकम, दैट मे बी एक्टिव इनकम, ऑलरेडी बेस्ड ऑन दैट एज वेल वी हैव प्रिपेयर्ड द वीडियो। If you are not aware of that, what is a passive income, what is active income, in order to become financially free, what we need to have, whether that passive income should be greater or active income should be greater, and lot many things are there behind which source of income we should thrive more. That may be passive income or that may be active income. What are the sources of passive income, what are the sources of active income, like that number of things we have covered in that video. The link of that video I am going to, or rather our team is going to give in the description box. You can go over there and you can have a look at it, so that you become a financially free. and जैसे ही आप financially free हो जाते हैं तो definitely you will, आपके जो भी ड्रीम्स है या आपके जो भी सपने हैं उसके पीछे दौड़ना आप शुरू कर दोगे. तो चलिए, लेट अस स्टार्ट विद दिस वेरी स्पेशल बुक, इंस्पायर योर चाइल्ड, इंस्पायर द वर्ल्ड, which is written by Sadhguru, a yogi mystic. Let us get ahead. Let's start with our next audiobook, Inspire Your Child, Inspire the World. It would be wonderful if this world was guided by little children because they are closer to life than anybody else. I need to repeat this. It would be wonderful if the world has guided by little children because they are closer to life than anybody else. Let us start with introduction. Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev is a self-realized and profound mystic of our times. He is an embodiment of the sages of the past who served as beacons of inspiration and guidance for entire civilizations. At the same time, he is acutely aware of current realities, making him a visionary humanitarian and a prominent spiritual leader of the world today. Also an author, poet, and internationally renowned speaker, Sadhguru's wit and piercing logic provoke and widen our perception of life. As someone who belongs to no particular tradition, Sadhguru's guidance and powerful scientific methods are totally relevant to the modern individual and institutions, allowing them to cross their limitations into a higher possibility. In this regard, he has been able to touch millions of people, moving them towards realizing the ultimate potential within. Sadhguru's multifaceted personality can have a profound and enriching effect on anyone who comes across him, and yet it can also stir them into a state of confusion, being at home in a blue jeans as much as he is in a lion cloth, or walking barefoot through the mighty Himalayas, or straddling a BMW motorcycle on the expressway. He shatters any preconception that one might have of a mistake. In the presence of the Master series are discourses and answers to an intricate array of questions by disciples and seekers amidst the challenge of life. Engulfed by Sadhguru's presence, the seeker is liberated from the pain of ignorance, firmly establishing the spiritual process within. In the following discourse, Inspire Your Child, Sadhguru answers probing questions discussing the state of modern education and the need to inspire a child to reach his or her true potential. Inspire your child, inspire the world. Question: I have two small children. They are very happy at home, but when they go to school, it becomes a war zone. They have to be equipped to fight a battle every day. Sadhguru laughs. Now, if children are very unhappy at school, I think we need to examine the teachers, because it's a natural human trait that when you get to know something that you did not know, it brings much joy to you. Yes, learning is a natural human trait. When you learn something that you did not know, it should make you joyful. If learning is making people miserable, then we have not understood what learning is. Unfortunately, you are not sending your children to school because you want them to know, you want them to learn, but because you want them to earn. That's why you are sending them to school. It is an unfortunate way to handle education. That's not education. You want them enslaved so that teachers are doing the job for you. You want them enslaved to what you call as economic well-being. So the teachers are just doing the job for you. You are not sending your children to school because you want them to develop a thirst for knowing, irrespective of whether they are going to make money or not, isn't it? So you better change your attitudes about education. At Isha, we have come up with a school where the whole focus of education is not about suppressive information, but about kindling the thirst for knowledge. If the thirst for knowledge is kindled in the child, you cannot stop him from learning. He is going to learn anyway. But instead of kindling that, you are suppressing it, beating it down with your idea of what education is. Because your idea of education is a social status and money. This is a wrong way to approach education altogether. So, children, these joyful bursting pieces of life slowly become sad like this because you are just disorienting them completely with the kind of compulsions that you have built within yourself. You are trying to put the same compulsions upon the children, which is not necessary. Next question. I find the concept of your inner engineering as a way of life for children very difficult because they have to meet children from different walks of life and different social backgrounds. How does this inner engineering, which I would like to give my children at home, withstand the completion, the pressure, the kind of lifestyle that other children have? How can my children go into this? Sadhguru answers. See, the pressure is only because you are putting two absolutely unique beings in comparison. Is there one more person exactly like you on this planet? No. Fortunately, so isn't it? Laughs, I'm joking. There is only one like you, so each being is an absolutely unique being. That is so far your child also. But now you are trying to put them all into the same compartment and compare them with something that they can learn ABC or 1 2 3 or something and make them feel better or worse about it. So it is you who brought that competition and comparison because for most parents it is not about education, it is about first rank. All they want is they want their children to sit on top of every other child's head. They are not interested in learning, they are not interested in education, they are not interested in career, they are not interested in anything. Their whole effort in their life is how to sit on the top of the pile, isn't it so? Everybody wants to sit on the top of pile, everybody cannot sit on top of the pile. Only a few will sit, others will naturally end up at the bottom and get suppressed, isn't it so? Whatever activity, if our focus is just to sit on top of the pile, naturally many others will get suffocated under the pile. This is bound to happen, there is no other way. So that orientation of education has to go. No, I cannot do anything. The schools are like that. No, schools are just catering to your attitudes. If your attitudes change, the schools will change. They want to run the business the way it works, isn't it? All you want is somehow you want your child to get 100%. It doesn't matter what happens to the child. You want your child to get first rank. They are just trying to cater to it because you are paying them. They are just trying to fulfill their job. In the course of your activity, the child is getting ruined. But it doesn't matter. Your child is unhappy. It doesn't matter. You want him to be first rank. This is a sickness which has to go. True human genius will not flower if this kind of education happens. True human capabilities will not find expression in competition. True human capabilities will find expression only in absolute relaxation. Your mind, your body will work best, will find fullest expression only when you are joyful and peaceful and quiet within yourself. When you are trying to race with somebody, you are only thinking of going one step ahead of him, that's all. You are not thinking of what your ultimate potential is. We are just ruining a whole generation of people with the kind of schooling we are providing. Next question. Sadhguru, you mentioned the Isha homeschool. What is your vision in using education to produce an ideal human being? How do you balance an international standard of education along with the spiritual values? Sadhguru answers, in the Isha homeschool, there is no spirituality taught, no spirituality at all. We don't want to bring spirituality into a child's life. We teach them some simple forms of yoga for mental and physical health. That's different. But no spirituality will be brought to them as a part of education. Never. Because spirituality should not be brought about like that. Maybe after they finish their education, if they want to go through a stint of 3 months or 6 months of spiritual training, they can. That's by choice. That anybody can go through. The school premises will also be moved out. Only for a year or two it will be in the ashram. After that we will move it out close by. Already we are making necessary arrangements for that. So this school does not try to teach any spirituality. At the same time, we want to cultivate a certain openness in the human being. See, somebody becomes or turns successfully spiritual because he has developed a certain openness about life. He has no conclusions about anything. He is willing to look at everything. This is something we cultivate in the child, that the child learns to look at every aspect of life with absolute openness, without prejudice, without any religious, cultural or any other kind of inclinations. With absolute openness, he will look at every aspect of life. If that happens, whether you talk spirituality to him or you don't, he will anyway turn spiritual. Spirituality will be a natural part of his life, not something that he pursues by going to an ashram or some other place. It will be just a natural part of his life because he has developed a certain openness to every aspect of life. Actually, education was supposed to be like that right from the beginning. The very purpose of educating people is to broaden their horizons, isn't it? But you tell me, as people are getting educated, are they broadening their horizons, or are they becoming very narrow? So just 50 years ago, everywhere in the world, people lived in a large families. In India, there still are such families. 300, 400 people lived in one house, huge families. There was no big problem, you know. They knew how to adjust with each other and go on, because 400 people living in one place is a challenge. That's what the ashram is. Now we are back into that old system of being one large family, and this is even more challenging because there are different types of people from different cultures, different languages, different attitudes, different likes and dislikes. Living together like this without friction needs enormous maturity and a very broad way of looking at life, otherwise you cannot. But just see now, as modern education came, slowly we cannot even live with our own parents anymore. We just thought husband, wife, children, this is the family. But now, in the last 15-20 years, even that is going away. Family means just you. Your husband has to live in a separate house, you in a separate house. Together you won't last 10 days. Children have to be there separately. In one place, even 2-3 people cannot live together, isn't it? This is what education has done to you. It has not broadened your horizons. It somewhere made you so narrow and individualistic. You are no more inclusive. You are becoming very exclusive, isn't it? The inclusion is totally gone. The whole idea of educating a person is that he is just living in a narrow sphere of life. You educate him, make him know about the whole world and broaden his whole perspective of life. Education means inclusion, isn't it? But the kind of education we are imparting to the children, it is making them so highly exclusive, they can't even stand one more person in their life. See, most people have gotten themselves into situations where they cannot live with anybody anymore. So that is not just an individual phenomenon, it's the phenomenon of the world. It's a generational phenomenon because of the kind of education that is being imparted. So we want to impart an education which is highly inclusive so that you grow, you include the whole world as yourself and live, and that is spirituality. That's why spirituality is not taught. Education itself is a spirituality, because education is about broadening your horizons, not about talking about God or some nonsense. We want children to grow up keeping their intelligence intact, not suppressive education, where a child's thirst to know is kindled but he is not forced to learn. So the longing to know, the longing to learn has to be brushed up within the child, not just feeding him with enormous amount of information and expecting him to pass and pass. Isha Home School is not like that. It has a very different type of structure. At the same time, by the time they are 16, 17, we will prepare them for any university in the world. They will be ready enough to get into any kind of university according to their individual capabilities, of course. Apart from that, they are fundamentally learning to live better. They are learning to handle themselves better and live better with themselves and with the people around them, which is a very important factor. And people are successful in their life not because they have degrees, not because they have university certificates. It is because they are capable, isn't it? So this school is more capability oriented and not qualification oriented. We are seeing how to enhance the capability of child in whatever area his natural talent is, rather than trying to just make him qualified with a certain certificate attached to him. Next question, Sadhguru. Whatever you said about Isha Home School and education just now, it's modern and contemporary. But what about the ancient schools, the Gurukulas of the past, were they not successful in producing good human beings? Sadhguru answers this. The ancient Gurukulas were definitely like this. The ancient Gurukul was 100% the way I am talking. The very purpose and the basic function of the Guru is to destroy all the things that you have assumed as true. But now the education also involves equipping the person to earn his living and make his living in the world. So we have those twin challenges. At that time, the guru was not trying to impart skills for the child to go and survive in the society, because if your father was a cobbler, you naturally become a cobbler. If your father was a king, you become a king. If your father was something else, you became that. You didn't have to be equipped to make a living in some other way in ancient times. The guru was only educating them towards their realization. So the job was, I would say, more simple, because it was one dimensional. But now it's not like that. Both things need to happen. We have to equip the child to live in the modern world and still not mess him up with the nonsense that's happening in the name of modernity. So it is a much bigger challenge today than what it was back then. And at that time, once the parents gave the children to the guru, they left him there in his complete authority. Now the parents are very noisy, they won't leave the children fully. They want to constantly meddle with him. They want to put their own stuff into him. All those issues are there. So it is much more complex today than it was in the Gurukul. In the Gurukul, the Guru had to just teach them how to exist, how to live, how to be with somebody else, and how to be with himself. And that was all. He was not trying to equip him for a modern university. In those days, only a few children who had a very academic bent of mind or a very scholastic bent of mind, such children were trained in scholarly matters. All the other children naturally went to their father's profession, whatever it was. Now it is not so. Even if the father is a cobbler, he wants his son to become a professor. That's the situation in the world today, isn't it? Next question. But you are saying there will be no spirituality in Isha homeschool. Isn't that a shortcoming? Sadhguru answers, laughs, and says, I am saying no spirituality as a teaching, as a method. But at the same time, if a child grows without assuming anything, if he grows up without any nonsense, he is a naturally spiritual. If he lives without the influence of other people upon him, if he lives by his own natural intelligence, turning spiritual is a very natural process. Only because most people are not living by their natural intelligence, they are living by the education imposed upon them. Spirituality is a far away thing in their lives. Otherwise, if people lived by their natural intelligence, turning spiritual will be a very normal process for most, except a very small percentage who won't go that way for various other reasons. So, when I say no spirituality, we are not going to sit there and talk to them about how to attain enlightenment, what to do. No. But at the same time, the education process itself is such where there is no messing with the child, no influence, no religion, no imposition of any kind of ideas or beliefs, where the child has to figure out things for himself. If you are allowed to figure out things for yourself, there is no other way but to turn inward to know things about life. Only if you listen to your Bible or Gita or what this person said or what that person said, then you don't have to turn inward to know. It's already written there. If you don't read any of that stuff, when you start thinking about life, when you start looking at life, the only place to look is naturally inward, isn't it? Where else will you look? One day it happened, a lady who was a big professor in the university bought herself a home appliance, a little complex home appliance. She took it home, she read the instructions and tried to put it together, all those pieces that came in the packages. She just tried very hard, she couldn't put it together. So she left all those parts in a heap and went to work. When he came back in the evening, to her surprise, the appliance was properly assembled and already used. She called the maid and asked, "Who fixed this?" The maid said, "I did." She couldn't believe it. She said, "How did you do this?" Then the maid said, "When you don't know how to read and write, you have to use your brains." I need to repeat this. When you don't know how to read and write, you have to use your brains. So we want to teach the children how to use their brains, not just to read and write. Reading and writing are important, but using your brains is more important, isn't it? Just see a lot of educated people who are very successful in their careers with their own lives. Just see what a mess they are. Obviously, they are not using their brains when it comes to their life, isn't it so? The very way they are, it is very obvious they are not using their brains when it comes to their own life. They know how to go and become doctors, engineers, become big academicians, and all that stuff. But when it comes to their own life, it looks like they have no brains at all because they have forgotten how to use it. It's not that they don't have it. So education should stimulate your brain, not dull your brain. Education should stimulate your intelligence, not take it off. Today's education scientists around the world are saying if a child goes through 20 years of formal education, 70% of his intelligence is irrevocably destroyed. I need to repeat this. Today education scientists around the world are saying if a child goes through 20 years of formal education, 70% of his intelligence is irrevocably destroyed. That means you are coming out as a knowledgeable idiot, and that's a huge disservice to humanity, isn't it? It's a huge disservice to humanity if you are just destroying the child's intelligence because the future of the world is just in their brains, isn't it so? Whether we are going to produce beautiful things on the planet or very destructive bombs on the planet or something else more destructive than that simply depends on how well coordinated this person's emotion, intelligence and all these things are, how well coordinated a human being he is. That is how he is going to use his intelligence, and that is what he is going to produce in the world. See, the most intelligent people in the world have contributed to all the violence on the planet. Otherwise, violence wouldn't be happening at the scale in which it is happening. People, a certain segment of the people have always been essentially violent. Whether he was a caveman or later on Bronze Age, Iron Age, whatever it takes, he has always been violent. Initially, when he was a caveman, he killed with a stone, that's Stone Age. Iron Age means he killed with iron, Bronze Age means he killed with bronze, Nuclear Age means he kills nuclear. People have always been essentially violent, but the scale of violence that can happen today has happened because the best brains in the world have cooperated with this, isn't it? Yes, the best brains in the world have worked to create the most violent ways to kill humanity. If the intelligent in the world had not cooperated, the violent man who killed one or two with a stick or a stone or something, but only because the intelligent person in the world has cooperated, now the violent man can kill in millions. So intelligence twisted out against our own well-being is no intelligence. Right now, human intelligence has become like this. This is not a blessing, it's a curse. Intelligence is the biggest blessing that a human being has, but right now, it has become a curse upon humanity simply because the human being is not coming out as a well-coordinated being. He is a dislocated the human being within himself. This intelligence is dangerous. If you were like a donkey, you would only kick, nothing more, isn't it? The maximum violence you would cause is a kick with both your legs, nothing more. But now human intelligence has become so dangerous. What should have been a blessing has become such a big curse, and education is definitely playing a huge role in that. So whatever we wish to do with the youth, one thing that the older generation should understand is what you are referring to as youth is that a segment of humanity which is more alive than you. What I see is if the world was guided by the young, it would be a better place to live. It is just that because youth means it is that a segment of humanity which is in a high energy state, because they are in a certain level of high energy compared to the other part of humanity. Every little thing that they do is a little exaggerated. It is a little bigger than what the other people can do. If something constructive has to happen in the world, it has to be the youth. If something destructive has to happen in the world, it has to also be youth, isn't it? Because they are much more alive than anybody else on the planet. So instead of always treating youth as some kind of a disease that needs to be handled, you must understand youth is much more alive than the other parts of humanity. It is better to be guided by the youth than trying to fix them to do what somebody else thinks is right. It is just that because they are in a certain state of listless energy, if there is no inspiration, if there is no proper guidance, it very easily turns negative. But otherwise, definitely they are closer to life than anybody else. Actually, it would be wonderful if this world was guided by little children because they are closer to life than anybody else. See, after all, everything that you wish to do on the planet is just for human well-being. Human well-being means human happiness. If you look at your children and yourself, definitely your children are a lot happier than you, isn't it so? They are capable of more happiness than you in a 24 hours time. Yes. So when that is the case, tell me who should be a consultant for life, you or your child? Definitely the children, isn't it? Because they are closer to life. You are carried away in your thoughts and emotions. They are much more close to life. If only the world learned from children rather than trying to teach the children, this would be a very beautiful place. So youth is not a disease. Usually the older generation is trying to handle youth as if it is some kind of a disease that needs to be fixed, that needs a treatment. It doesn't need any treatment. It is people who have gone away from life who need a treatment. Those who are close to life don't need a treatment, they have to just live. One big lapse that is happening today in the world is our educational system have become 100% informative. There is no inspiration. Without inspiration, no human being raised beyond the limitations in which he lives. It's only when he is inspired that a human being wants to go beyond the limitations in which we are existing in right now. And today education has become totally bare of inspiration. A teacher is not somebody that is worth looking up to, unfortunately, because when all that is given is information, you can as well get it from an audio or a video or internet or wherever. You don't really have to listen to a teacher. A teacher is not the best means of a transmission when it comes to pure information. A book is better, internet is even better only if the teacher's role is to inspire people to learn, to create a thirst for knowledge and things like that. Only then a teacher's role has something to give. If he is just trying to transmit information, the other means of transmission are better than a human being, because human beings can always misinterpret, isn't it? Making the whole education system purely informational has caused an enormous damage, and that time of life when you are youthful, when you are capable of many things, that span of life unfortunately goes to waste simply because the necessary inspiration is not there. So creating inspiration means generally most leaders in the world have always inspired people only by creating an external enemy. If you create an external enemy, you can inspire everybody on the street. Action, isn't it? But when you point out to people that the real enemy is within you, your limitations are your biggest enemies. Whatever your limitations, your fear, your anxiety, your anger, your hatred, whatever the limitation from which one suffers, when you say the enemy is within you, then to inspire you needs much more commitment and dedication. Unfortunately, dedication and commitment have become such a scarce material on the planet. Everybody is thinking of doing one big mela one day and getting the youth inspired into the wonderful states. Such things won't happen. It needs a daily committed and dedicated work. It's a lifelong thing. It's not that today you do something and everything is fixed. There is no such possibility. It's like nurturing a plant. It's like nurturing a tree. If you want it to bear fruit, you have to nurture it every day. Every day you have to water it. Every day you have to take care of it. If this dedication is shown by the adults, the grown-ups, you will see youth will do miraculous things. Only because such dedication is missing in the general population, youth seem to be disoriented. They don't know what to do. They do their own things, short-term things, because everybody is working on short-term goals. Youth also work on short-term goals. See, after all, every human being in the world is concerned about human well-being, isn't it? No, there is a criminal. No, there is a thief. No, there is somebody else. See, they are also concerned about human well-being. It is just that their idea of human well-being is just this human being points at himself. Yes, a criminal is also concerned about human well-being, but his idea of humanity is just himself. Somebody's idea of humanity is him and his family. Somebody else's idea of humanity is him and his country. Somebody else includes the whole world. Everybody is concerned about human well-being in a different proportions. So one big thing that needs to happen with the youth and with everybody is that their identification with humanity should not be limited to just themselves, and that it includes a larger society and the larger world around them. This is missing in education today. The modern education is constantly training people only to think about themselves and nothing else but themselves. All the science that you see in the world, there is nothing wrong with the science itself, but the attitude, the way in which science is conducted is like everything here is here only to be exploited for our well-being, isn't it so? Now we destroy want only and then we talk about protecting the environment, then doing something else, all patch up jobs, because the whole process of science is only about how to use everything for your comfort, for your benefit. So initially you use the planet, then the trees and the plants, then the animals, then of course the human beings also. You use everybody to your comfort and well-being. That attitude has been deeply set with the process of modern education. So, as we are investing our time, our resources, and energies in a transmuting informative knowledge, we have to invest a certain amount of time, energy, and resources to inspire people. The inspirational dimension of the education, which has not been done at all. Say, for example, 50 years ago, this country during the freedom struggle had an inspired population. Suddenly, people were willing to come out and throw their lives on the street for the nation. In 50 years' time, we did not do any work about inspiring people, and suddenly we are such a disgruntled and disoriented population. To get Indians to think as Indians is a huge problem, isn't it? Because the necessary inspiration has been missing. No work has been done, no organized work has been done. Haphazardly, small groups of people doing this and that has happened, but no organized work has been done. We need to do something about inspiring people in an organized way. Haphazardly, individuals doing this and that is fine, but a very organized effort to inspire people without creating an external enemy, making people understand the biggest enemy for a human being is always within himself. This inspiration is what is needed. Every forum that stands up thinking about the well-being of the youth or thinking about harnessing that enormous energy which we refer to as youth must always think of integrating in terms of moving people to do things which are beyond limitations. When we are not inspired, we tend to function only within the limitations in which we are placed. Only when we are inspired, we go beyond and do things that human beings wouldn't normally do. Only then the society surges ahead and does something worthwhile. Unfortunately, that happens only when a strip happens. In a normal peaceful situations, people should be inspired. It is very important. When there is war, people want to go and die. That's not the point. When everything is well, to be highly inspired to keep and to create the situations that we want in the country and in the world is what is needed. And this is not one day's work, it is a lifelong work. Isha Foundation. Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev's tireless efforts towards bringing human well-being to all serve as the inspiration behind Isha Foundation's activities. Set up as a non-profit, non-political and a non-religious organization, the foundation does not promote any particular ideology, religion or race, but transmits inner sciences of well-being to multitude of people across the world. In addition, it has only pioneered several projects of immense social value. Asia Foundation functions through over 150 centers worldwide. It is enabled by thousands of active volunteers from Asia, Middle East, Europe, and the US, whose dedication, compassion, and spirit serve as an example of an inspired humanity. Isha Yoga Center. The Isha Yoga Center is located on 150 acres of lush land at the foothills of the Velangiri Mountains. The center provides a supportive environment in which people can shift to healthier lifestyles, improve their relationships, seek a higher level of self-fulfillment, and realize their full potential under the guidance of a master. It houses the Dhanalinga, a multi-religious temple and a meditation shrine, and the architecturally distinctive Spanda Hall and garden, a 64,000 square feet meditation hall. Also located at the yoga center are the Isha Rejuvenation Center and Isha Home School, Dhanalinga. Dhanalinga is a powerful and unique energy form created from the distilled essence of yogic science by Sadhguru and is the first of its kind to be completed in over 2000 years. Dhanalinga is a meditative space that does not ascribe to any particular faith or belief system, nor does it require any ritual, prayer, or worship. Isha Yoga programs. Isha Yoga programs allows individuals to take tangible steps towards their inner growth. These programs are designed by Sadhguru and are a rare opportunity for self-discovery under the guidance of a realized master. An array of programs is conducted regularly by the foundation worldwide. These programs establish optimal health and vitality, enhanced mental calm and clarity, and instill a deep sense of joy. They can be easily integrated into one's everyday life and embrace the human effort to reach inner awareness. Action for Rural Rejuvenation. Action for Rural Rejuvenation (ARR) is Isha Foundation's social outreach program initiated in August 2003. ARR, that is Action for Rural Rejuvenation, aims at providing comprehensive and ongoing rural rehabilitation services such as free medical relief, yoga programs, nature awareness programs, and community games to the heart of the rural communities of India, creating the opportunity for the villagers, including women and children, to take responsibility for their own lives and restore and reach their ultimate well-being. So far, ARR, Action for Rural Rejuvenation, has helped over 1 million people in more than 1000 villages in the southern state of India. Isha Rejuvenation. Surrounded by thick forest at the tranquil foothills of the Velangiri Mountains, Isha Rejuvenation helps individuals to experience inner peace and the joy of a healthy body. It offers a unique and powerful combination of programs scientifically designed by Sadhguru to bring vibrancy and proper balance to one's life energies. The programs contains a synthesis of allopathic, Ayurvedic and Siddha treatments and complementary therapies along with the sublime wisdom of various ancient Indian scientists and spirituality. All the proceeds of Isha Rejuvenation contributes towards providing free health care to the rural villagers under the Action for Rural Rejuvenation initiative. Isha Homeschool. Isha Homeschool aims at providing quality education in a challenging and stimulating home-like environment designed specifically for the inner blossoming and the well-rounded development of the child. With its prominent international faculty and Sadhguru's personal involvement in the curriculum, Isha Homeschool kindles the innate urge within a child to learn and know. Focus is given to inculcating life values and living skills whilst maintaining the rigor of academic excellence as per national and international standards. It does not propagate any particular religion, philosophy, or ideology, but rather encourages the child to seek a deeper experience and inner understanding of the fundamentals of life. Isha Vidya. An initiative under Isha Education Outreach, Isha Vidya is a visionary project by Sadhguru that aims to empower rural children with world-class education. This school adheres to matriculation syllabus with English as a medium of instruction along with exposure to computers, music, arts, yoga and vocational training. The project envisions setting up of 206 schools over the next 5 years in rural Tamil Nadu, one in each taluka of the state. Isha Business Private Limited. Isha Business Private Limited is a venture that aims to bring a touch of Isha into the homes and the environment of the community and ultimately enrich people's lives. This opportunity is made available through its numerous products and services from architectural design, construction, interior design, furniture design and manufacturing, landscape design, handicrafts and soft furnishing to designer outfits from the Isha Ramen. All profits from this venture are used to serve the rural people of India through Isha Foundation's Action for Rural Rejuvenation initiative. How to get there? Isha Yoga Center is located 30 kilometers west of the Coimbatore at the foothills of the Belangiri mountain, part of the Nilgiris biosphere. Coimbatore, a major industrial city in South India, is well connected by air, rail and road. All major airlines operate regular flights into Coimbatore from Chennai, Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore. Train services are available from all the major cities in India. Regular bus and taxi services are also available from Coimbatore to Isha Yoga Center. Visitors should contact Isha Yoga Center for availability and reservation of accommodation well in advance of arrival to the center, as they are generally fully booked. Thank you so much, all of you, for connecting with us. We have completed the reading of Inspire Your Child, Inspire the World audiobook, which is written by Sadhguru Yogi Mystic. Similar to that, already we have finished many number of audiobooks. You have missed any of the audiobook from this series, you can find the link of that audiobook in the description box. You can go over there and you can enjoy the learning. And already we have decided for which purpose we have started this show. We are going to have more peaceful, joyful and loving world. And in order to achieve this vision, what we need to have? We need to have the clear perception and mental clarity regarding what we want in our life. Most of the time, or what we can say, we are having the best aeroplane, best pilot in the world, but we are not knowing that where we have to go and the path which is required in order to reach that destination. And unfortunately, in today's distractive world, what we are doing, with that best pilot in the world and best plane in the world, at every moment we are changing the direction of the plane. Now you can think only, if you are going to change the direction of plane every now and then, the probability with which we are going to reach the destination, that is very remote. ओके अगर वहां पे हम जाके पहुंचते भी है तो वो मेयरली एक कोइंसिडेंस हो जाएगा, और कोइंसिडेंस बार बार नहीं होता है. So in order to reach your destination, you should plan your way, as well as you have to decide early in your life where you want to be, या अपने आप को आप कहाँ देखना चाहते हैं. और वो आप जितनी जल्दी देखेंगे उतना ही जल्दी क्या होगा, उस चीज को आप अचीव कर सकेंगे. और यू आर गोइंग टू हाउ योर लाइफ एनर्जीज, योर बॉडी, माइंड, इमोशन, ऑल दीज 4 parameters you are going to align in one single direction, and you are going to keep it unwavering for certain amount of time. And if you are going to do this for certain amount of time, definitely you are going to achieve what you are aspiring for. तो चलिए मिलते हैं विद द नेक्स्ट एपिसोड ऑफ दिस वेरी स्पेशल शो एंटाइटल्ड एज रीड विद मी. चलिए कुछ अच्छा सुनते हैं. तब तक हंसते रहिए, मुस्कुराते रहिए, कुछ अच्छा सुनते रहिए. और ऑलरेडी वी हैव डिसाइडेड, इन ऑर्डर टू make this world more peaceful, joyful and loving, what we have to do, the audiobooks which we are preparing, you have to go through these audiobooks and you have to enhance your personality at least 1% every day. अगर आप मान लीजिए कि 1% भी आपकी पर्सनैलिटी में चेंज करते हैं इन अ पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन, देन एक वीक में आप कितना परसेंटेज चेंज कर सकते हैं? 7%। एक महीने में 30% आपकी पर्सनैलिटी आप चेंज कर सकते हैं। ओके, ज्यादा कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे हम। हर रोज हमें क्या करना है? वी हैव टू ट्राई टू बिकम 1% बेटर दैन द यस्टरडे, एंड दीज ऑडियो बुक्स आर गोइंग टू हेल्प यू अ लॉट। तो आपको क्या करना है? इन ऑर्डर टू become more and more responsible, or in order to take at least 1% responsibility of yourself and the people around you, you have to go through these audiobooks. क्योंकि अभी तो जमाना क्या है? डिजिटल। एंड by keeping that into mind, what we have done, we have started this show. We are knowing that you are too busy person and you are accumulated with a lot many activities. While performing those activities also, what you can do, you are going to have a look at these audiobooks. आप अपना जो भी एक्टिविटी, जो भी काम है, वो करते करते भी ये ऑडियो बुक सुन सकते हैं। हम हालांकि रिकमेंड करेंगे कि कोई चीज ना करके ये सुने, क्योंकि ज्यादा से ज्यादा उससे आप लर्निंग ग्रास्प कर सको। लेकिन फिर भी अगर पॉसिबल नहीं हो जाता है, आप ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, तो डेफिनेटली अलॉन्ग विद ट्रैवलिंग यू कैन लिसन टू दीज ऑडियो बुक्स, and I am pretty much sure that you are going to help us by sharing these audiobooks over a million people, so that जो भी हम आज स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं कि हर एक के लाइफ की जो भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है वो कितने परसेंट से बढ़ाएगा? हर एक दिन 1% रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी देगा खुद की और पीपल अराउंड देम। वैसा अगर हम करते हैं तो डेफिनेटली within very short span of time we are going to create more peaceful, joyful and loving world. Let us commit ourselves to this idea of tomorrow's world, and keep on sharing these small yet important yet beautiful audiobooks with your loved ones. Thank you so much all of you once again. In order to appreciate our efforts, what you can do, you can subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to receive the notification regarding our upcoming audiobooks in this Read With Me show. Thank you so much all of you. अगर आपको बाहर जाने की जरूरत पड़ रही है तो प्लीज वियर योर मास्क, मेंटेन सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग एंड बार बार अपने जो हाथ है वो साबुन से या सैनिटाइजर से साफ करते रहिए। Thank you so much all of you once again for connecting with us. Let us meet with the next episode of this very special show, Read With Me. Appreciate our efforts by subscribing to our channel. Thank you.